What's up, YouTube? Boy, back once again with another sport topic, and today we're going to talk some football, Houston Texans football. But today we got a special guest in the building. Who we got today?
Got Garrick Jones in the building, man. Hashtag GJ for GM, but we talking about ownership now.
Already. Hey, we're going to talk about these Houston Texans, but before we get in there, like I've been telling you on the last couple of videos, the goal is to reach 5K, 5,000 subscribers. If we reach 5K, I'm doing a very special giveaway. Trust me, you want to be a part of it, but the only way to be a part of it is to get the channel to 5K. So you got to do your part. You got to like, share, subscribe on all social media platforms. Let's get the channel to 5K. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Now, let's get into this conversation. Now, for the people who are new to the channel, what's your ties to the Houston Texans?
Man, I'm a former player, man. I put in and work on the field. You can see the jerseys in the back. So I didn't go to the store and buy them. I earned them.
Already.
Right? So I got a vested interest in the program, vested interest in the organization, and vested interest in this thing being a success. So that's why we're here today.
Already. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's get into this. How are you feeling about the whole Lovie Smith hire?
Man, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm conflicted, right? And I think a lot of people are. I mean, it's good for Love to finally get that opportunity again, but under these circumstances, it's a little different, right? So for me, man, I'm pulling for him, but I understand the dynamic of what's going on over there, and it's a rough deal, man. You hate for somebody to be in that situation, but I mean, he's a good enough coach to pull the guys together, galvanize them, and them, get some success on the field. But it has to be off the field too. So. It's a marriage, man. It's a marriage. So we're gonna see how it's gonna work out.
Okay. Was you at the press conference? I know it was a couple former players up there.
No, I didn't make that, man. Now we were invited, but at the end of the day, I'm putting this fan-centric movement together, and so we can start looking at purchasing some of these ball clubs. So that's where my heart and my head has been in the last, thing. But the legends got a chance to get out to congratulate him, and I wish I was a part of it, but I didn't get a chance to get that done.
Okay, because I know that's something I just want to ask. So is that normal? Do they normally reach out to former players around the city or in the city anytime when Bill O'Brien was hired or when Rick Smith was hired and things like that? Do they do that normally, or is that something a little bit different?
Well, they're trying to include the older guys a little bit more. We got a chance to come out and meet Cully. And it wasn't under the circumstances of what Love had, which, is a lot of optics. But ultimately, man, you get a chance to get in there and talk to him a little bit, talk philosophy. And I mean, it's really quick. It's nothing that's a long, drawn out process, man. Just so, come in and dap them up and talk to them a bit. And then you're pretty much back out on these streets, man. So it's one of those deals, man. We get a chance to touch them and talk to them a little bit. But they're doing a better job. I'll put it to you like that, of bringing in the legends and guys who helped build the organization. So that kudos to them, man. Kudos to the Texans.
Okay, yeah, because I know there's a video dropped recently, about a couple of days ago, where it showed Lovie talking to Andre, talking about he wanted to get his input in and things like that. And I know a lot of Texans. I know a year ago it was like Andre sent out a tweet that was heard around the world, and it kind of seemed like, okay, maybe he really wasn't slide with them Texans, but then. Right. I think it was, I forgot, I think it might have been the Seattle game. He was seeing the press box with Cal. And then I know I seen you there too I think it was the Chargers game. It was like the whole Texans legends. I guess that was homecoming or something like that. Yeah. And it was a lot a lot of former players out there then. So that's what I want to touch because I'm a fan. So I know how fans feel for the most part, but I want to touch the temperature of how do former players feel about this organization. I know some players, like you said, people play on different teams, but either the team that drafted you or the team you played the longest with, the team you had the most success with, probably hold a little dear place in your heart. So how do former players like yourself feel about this organization right now?
Well, it's a little different for the players. I mean, it's about a 50-50 situation. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm going to keep it a buck. Guys we put our lives on the line to build the organization. So when we're done, I mean, we're not necessarily getting paid by that organization, but you want to see the organization thrive. So for what has gone on in the past and then what is happening now and all those different things, man, you got guys that are kind of conflicted. You know what I'm saying? Right. I mean, with good reason. I mean, our quality of life is diminished, man. As soon as you get out of the league, once you start to not play anymore, your quality of life kind of goes down. So, I mean, you put that time, energy, and effort into it. So that's why I say I have a vested interest in the success of the ball club, because you don't ever want that pain and energy and suffering that you put your body through to go in vain. So
right.
when they made the announcement, we have a message board of all legends, right? So it was some guys in there chirping a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And with good reason. I mean, guys are they want to see the best for the organization. I put it to you like that, and they're passionate about it, and they're passionate about the success of the Texans. And those are the reasons why we do what we do, because the city deserves to win, man. We need that Super Bowl, and you got to do everything in your power to bring that here. And it's not about the dollar. It cannot be about the dollar, and it has been for a long time. So we're trying to get this thing figured out, man. But like I say, bro, it's a little different for the players.
Okay, because I know, like, I remember seeing it was like a 30 for 30. It was with Eric Dickerson, and because he went to SMU. How SMU had the whole death penalty and was gone from college football for a while. He was saying, like, when he would be in the locker room at certain when he was with the Rams and the Colts and things like that, that guys would like rank on him a little bit because like when they would talk about college football, well, we know we ain't talking about your college team because we already know what they looking like. So like being around other players of other teams, being around players from other teams. Do they do the same thing? Do they kind of rank on y'all and cap on y'all for being part of the Texas organization, especially the state that this franchise has been in for the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think everybody does that, to be honest with you. You don't have to be a player. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and they can do it, right? They can do it.
Right,
and that's one of the things that I think that has the fans up in arms a lot of times, and even the players up in arms. It's like, look, we got to do better. Like, we want to be able to go out and represent the Houston Texans. We want to be able to wear the gear. And not be ashamed. I mean, that's just with anybody. That's human nature. So if that's not happening and you're not giving us that opportunity to do that, something has to change. So, like, going against guys are just a lot of the guys, like, I'm the VP of the NFLPA Houston chapter, right? So there's chapters all over the country, and everybody, gets together, man, like the Super Bowl and different things like that. And we go back in, man. We get back in the locker room and it's cool, but we want to be able to hold our heads high, man, and be proud of this thing. So it's time, man. I mean, this is do or die. It is what it is.
Yeah, because I mean, we go through the same thing when we at work or we in the store, like we walk around with our Texan hats and Texan jerseys and stuff like that. And or people at Thanksgiving, you got Cowboy fans over here, you got Steeler fans over here and stuff like that. So they gonna rank on you. They gonna give you your team ain't doing this. I just want to know if players go through the same thing. This is the same thing as us. Because now, I know you said it was 50-50. You kind of split, kind of torn because you happy for Lovey, but not about the situation.
Yeah.
What could help Lovey in this situation to make it a more feasible situation?
Wins cure all, right? So he'll be able to galvanize the guys. The guys will play for him. But you want him to be able to do that without his hands being tied, without all the politics that go along with it. And unfortunately, that's, man, the whole NFL is political in some way, shape, form, or fashion, unfortunately. So when you get into it and really look at it from the belly of the beast, you find out that it's really not about the wins. A lot of times it's about that dollar. It's about the butts and seats, and it's rough. So you want him to have some success. You want him to be very successful. You want the players to play, but you want him to be able to do that and the players to be able to do that freely. And be able to play to the best of their ability, not with one hand tied behind their backs or whatever the deal may be. Because there's a lot going on right now, and there's a lot of exposure to a lot of the practices that go on in the NFL, with Brian Flores and Hugh Jackson and those guys. I mean, these things happen, bro. These things happen. So it's one of those things where everybody has to be held accountable. As a player, if I'm not doing my job, I'm out of there, right? It needs to be the same with management and football ops and everybody else, man. We have a standard, and it needs to be a standard and a culture. And it's the same thing I've been talking about, since I was talking about the GJ for GM situation, man. If you don't have a culture that anybody can come to and thrive in, I don't care how many number one picks you get, it's still gonna be tainted and toxic. Period.
That's true. That's very true. Because I'm glad you said it, because do we really have? I mean, we might want a standard, it might want a culture, but with this organization, it showed you at least the last 5 to 4, 3, 2 in the last year, that we really don't have a culture, and we really don't have a standard.
Right.
And I think that at one point in time we were building towards one, and it basically just get all shot to shit. Like it's just to call it is what it is, and just like. Cause you said like because you've been at this game, I know you play for the Texans. I'm pretty sure you've been in plenty of other games, and you mentioned butts and seats.
Right.
Was this the worst you've ever seen the fan base as far as showing up to games?
It was rough. I think it is and has been, especially this past season. But the fans are starting to understand the power of their dollar, and that's really what it boils down to. And I tell anybody, man, just like Sam Walton said, your customer can hire and fire whoever in the building they want when they take their money elsewhere. So the fans are starting to get it. Like, you guys are investors. I'm an investor. If I go and I spend that money, I'm investing in an experience, and I'm investing in a team. And if it's mediocre returns, that's not a good investment. So I need to go somewhere else and do something. You know what I'm saying? But it's been rough, man, is to see the prices drop. To see some of the ads, see the emails, and it's almost like an organization that's really begging for people to come to the game when it never should have gotten to this point in the first place.
Right.
So that's kind of what the deal is right now. So they have an uphill battle. I pull for them. I want them to be successful. I want a Super Bowl here in the city of Houston. I want for these players to be successful on and off the field when they're done playing, because you can't play forever. I want to see Lovey have a great tenure here. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to the outside environment as well. I mean, the higher ups, upper management, owners, the whole 9 yards. Everybody has to be held accountable for everything that goes on. And you can't just put it on the coach and say he's going to change the culture. He's not the check writer. You know what I'm saying? So it starts at the top and it rolls down. But it was rough, bro, watching it. But I mean, it has to happen in order for people to take notice of what's going on and make these changes.
Yeah, and I think that because I think the organization knows, because kind of like what you said about like when you were saying earlier about being conflicted for Lovey, because I see another video that the Texans are doing. They're trying their best to do their best PR, and they sent out another video of Lovey calling, I guess, season ticket holders for them to renew their tickets, and they put it up there like it was all cute and stuff like that, and I'm like, damn. That's really sad. No, seriously. I'm like, that's really sad. And I don't fault Lovey at all. It's the organization, because he shouldn't even be put in that type of position. Do you think Kansas City got Andy Reid calling people the season ticket holders? You think Bill Belichick is calling people in New England?
No.
Like,
right.
Do you think these things are going on other teams? You think Mike Tomlin is calling people in Pittsburgh? Like these things are not happening in model franchises who, hey, people gonna come. Yeah, like what's the movie, The Field of Dreams? They build it, they will come. You build it, they will come. Right. But now you resort to this, that you have to basically put your newly hired coach on a pedestal to go out there like, hey, call these, hey, I'm Lovey Smith, I'm calling you. Hey, nobody else does that. No other organization does that, and it just shows how the dysfunction of this organization, because they were this close, this close to hiring Josh McCown as their head football coach. Yeah. I want to ask you about that as a former player.
Okay.
There's been, I'm pretty sure you've been around the game your whole life. I'm pretty sure you're around the game now, dealing with kids and things like that.
Right.
A player that has never coached a down of anything, to be offered a head coaching job, and we're not talking about your Peyton Mannings and your Tom Brady's, the greats of greats. Okay, they're the greats of great. I'll go ahead and call it with them. We're talking about Josh McCown. Nothing against Josh McCown, but we're talking about Josh McCown.
Right.
As a former player, how would you felt about that situation?
Well, I mean, it would be a 50-50 scenario as a former player, because we know as players that, we can get the job done, right? That's under any circumstances. So it's like me being a GM. Everybody was at my neck about, you don't have this and you haven't done this and blah, blah. Man, listen, you put me in the place, we will have a Super Bowl, period, because I know how to connect with everybody. So there will have been a level of success with Josh. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, a lot of times you need that industry shakeup, realistically, because everybody has a talent, and I think he would be a good candidate. Head coach wise, you kind of look on, okay, we got this guy where he has all this experience, but a lot of times when you have the younger guys in there who don't know what they don't know, they don't know anything about all this failure and lack of success. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's one of those deals, but if you're looking at it from the vantage point of, okay, this is how we've always done it, you wouldn't want to bring somebody in who hasn't had that level of experience, whether it be coaching in high school or coaching in D1, whatever, or college, and then coming here. So as a player, it's kind of a 50-50 crapshoot for myself. But in the terms of experience, we want to get away from this recycled coaches carousel a little bit more because it's time for that, right? But for what is going on here with the Houston Texans, that's an entire different scenario. You have to have somebody who is battle tested, somebody who, like I say, can bring the guys together and they'll respect that. So you want somebody who's been around a while, kind of like a Lovey or, any one of these guys that have really proved themselves and created a culture at where they were, right? Those are the things that are needed here for the Texan organization, for everybody to really gather around and really buy into. So with the Josh situation, I don't know if that would have been the best scenario for here. It'd almost been like it's a test type of situation. Let's see how it goes, and because we can't do any worse, right? And we don't need that. The city doesn't need that. The city needs somebody who's a proven winner. The city needs somebody that can come in here and really get these guys together and get these wins, because the moment we start winning, all these conversations change, or they stop altogether, right? And that's really what this thing is about. So that's what they're banking on. And like I say, I pray that happens for Lovey and he gets that opportunity, because a lot of times you don't get those opportunities twice, especially if you're a minority in this game. And those are the things that, we got to look at, So I'm pulling for it, and I'm not pushing against it, but I'm pulling for it to happen. But yeah, that whole Josh situation, I don't think that would have been the best fit for what we need here in Houston.
And when you say, especially when you bring up talking about recycled coaches, one, you only see a certain type of coach,
right?
Air quotes, that gets recycled. Right. And Lovey's really the type of coach that really wouldn't get recycled. So for him to get his third opportunity shows something. And to your point about, and also about like people want to go young. I mean, just look at the Super Bowl. You have McVay, you have Zach Taylor, the Super Bowl, the championship game. McVay, Taylor, Reed was the only old guy, because then you had Matt LaFleur. Like so in the championship game and ended up going to the Super Bowl, you had three young guys, and the guy who won the Super Bowl is 36. I'm only 33. He's only 3 years older than me. So I'm sitting there like, what am I doing wrong in my life? I'm not head coach of NFL franchise winning the Super Bowl. That's why that's just something that I think about on a daily basis. But that's neither here nor there. But when we see these type of things, like I said, I hope that Lovey does have success. Not only because I'm a Texan fan, I want the Texans to have success. I think that people do respect him.
Right.
I think players and other coaches respect him. And from what I've talked to people in Chicago, for fan bases, guys have commented on a couple of my videos. They said they really, to this day, they wish they still had Lovey. So he seems like just a guy you want to root and pull for, and you want him to succeed, not just as a Texan, not just because he's a Texan. You just want him to succeed, period. So we need the rest of the organization, so this message is to a Nick Caserio, to give him the pieces to do that and allow him to do his job, because I think that's part of the reason with the disconnect with Cully, that it was more so Cully was just there and Nick Caserio's pulling the strings.
Right.
We need Lovey to actually do his job, actually coach, because I think if you give him, you let him do his job, you let him be the leader of men, galvanize the troops, actually coach, I think you'll do good things on the field. And then also, if you obviously, I mean, the players play, so you also do need to get him some good guys in this organization. So what do you think it should be? What do you think Nick Caserio's next move should actually be?
Man, I mean, they have to evaluate the guys that they have right now.
Right.
And it's a teamwork scenario, right? Just like you said, you have to let Lovey do. He has to be able to do the things that he's good at and things that he's done in the past. And then Nick has to do his job, and then every other person in the building has to do their job. Because in a teamwork environment, if I think that I'm on the block, I think I'm gonna throw the ball, I think I'm gonna run it, and I'll be the water boy. We're gonna go winless the entire season, right? Because I'm doing too much.
Right.
So I think it has to be right. So I'm doing way too much. So I have to be able to rely on my teammate to do their job. And Bill Belichick, they put it so eloquently. Do your job. This isn't rocket science. This isn't a hard situation. You're bringing a group of individuals in. No matter who you draft, it doesn't matter. If you draft a young man, you have to put him in the best position to be successful. The same thing with the coaches, the same thing with the scouts, the same thing with football ops. Anybody in football, you have to put them in a position to be successful. And that's what your GM is supposed to do. So there's a level of accountability there. So it all starts with him in that football ops situation. But then, like I say, at the end of the day, it's about everybody doing their job. It's really not hard, Doc. If everybody is clicking on all cylinders, that means that it's a level of cohesiveness. It's a level of everybody understanding that, hey, if I do my job and my teammate does his job, shit, we're going to be successful. Same thing with the coaches, same thing with the scouts, same thing with the GM, and so on and so forth. So until they get that rectified, I don't care who they draft. Because I understand the nature of this game. You can have number one draft picks for days, but if you bring all those guys into a toxic culture, then they're not gonna last long. It just is what it is, bro.
All right. Man, I appreciate you having you on to get the temperature from the player side. And tell us what's going on. You got anything going on?
Man, we're about to launch this fan-centric community and fan-centric token. Our token is geared around that whole GJ for GM movement. It's time for the fans to come together, get educated on this crypto space, and then also on the sports management space, so we can start actually purchasing these organizations that we cheer for on an annual basis. That's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks, man. We've been working hard. I'm about to start, reaching back out to all the Texans fans who got behind the whole GJ for GM movement, and just show them, hey, it's time to go do some things. I got our counterparts out there in Denver. With their DAO, they're looking to try to purchase the Denver Broncos, so we're gonna latch on with them and work a little bit. Then we're gonna turn around and look at purchasing some other organizations. We got some fantasy football, we got some esports teams, and we're just gonna make it a fun time, man, where everybody gets educated, everybody has passive income coming in, and we just start, creating this generational wealth, man. Buy some of these teams and have some fun and run them the right way.
Right. Like I say, hey, if you want something done right, do it yourself.
You better believe.
That's what they always say. Man, I appreciate you. I appreciate having you on, man. Thank you, man. Hey, like I said, like, share, subscribe. Let's get this channel up to 5K. Come doing a very special giveaway. I'ma holla.